What's up, everybody, and we're back again with another Star vs. the Forces of Evil analysis video. By the way, fun fact is that Disney XD had already uploaded the episode before it actually aired live, so yeah. You know I took advantage of that. Anyways, the first half, River literally just takes Star away from telling her mother about Eclipsa and the butterfly heritage. And it was all so they could go on a hunt for the Bogbeast of Boggabah. It kind of reminds me of the season 2 episode with Marco trying to go on a camping trip with her, but instead River just wants to come along to spend time with her.
No way! My little girl isn't dating yet. Whatever! Keep lying to yourself, old man! Old? Who are you calling old?
Because we all know that Star is growing up pretty fast, and he's starting to realize how mature she's getting over the years. And all that's understandable, and you know, this is a father and daughter relationship episode, but really, did you have to pull her away from telling Moon the most important thing ever? Okay, I'm skipping ahead, so let me just go back to the beginning, okay? I almost forgot to mention that Moon literally had no idea about Eclipsa having a daughter and her name being completely different other than that other lady named Festivia. Within the book of Butterfly Records, they don't even mention Heinous anywhere. Well, they don't mention Meteora anywhere. Probably because they were too ashamed of letting a monster become part of the family. And also, two other significant points that I really need to mention in this video is that she knows nothing about Mina Loveberry. And what I mean by that is possibly she really doesn't remember Mina Loveberry from when she was a child, or maybe she just straight up thought she died or something. I don't know.
Isn't it bonkers that Heinous is Eclipsa's daughter? Mina told me everything!
Mina? What are you talking about? Listen, I won't have you making up ridiculous stories to distract from the real issue here.
Is Mina Loveberry supposed to be in jail or something? Maybe that's why she escaped and went back on Earth. And I believe that would explain the reasoning behind why she ran away from Romulus and the rest of those royal guards when they came in at the Monster Bash episode. And the second thing on the list to mention is the fact that Moon was not the person who sent out Romulus and the rest of them to stop the party. And at first I just assumed that she was either lying or maybe River had already done that, but then at the same time, River wouldn't have done it because he's already a party animal himself, and honestly, I mean, come on, how many times has River really ratted out Star for anything? He doesn't care. However, I did see part of the ending of Monster Bash all over again, and Romulus did say that they detected a surge of magic.
Look, it was just a party, okay? We weren't doing anything wrong.
Oh, really? Then what was that huge surge of magic we detected in the dungeon earlier?
Oh, yeah.
So what in the world would be the point of them detecting anything if they were just simply called over to check and see what was going on? But yet again, at the same time, it was strange for them to mention the fact that Moon wasn't the one who called them over. So did someone really call the High Commission? And if that were to be the truth, who in the world would be in high authority enough to call them over to see what's going on? So that's my thoughts on that particular issue, but yeah, I really just believe they just detected magic, and so they just went over there to check and see what happened. Alright, so let me just give you the basic summary of what this first half of the episode really was. I mean, the really juicy stuff is the second half of this episode. Star and River go and do all these different rituals that are just absolutely insane, just so they can apparently hunt for the Bogbeast of Boggabah. When in reality, the Bogbeast of Boggabah is described to be a person that is willing to jump to conclusions and strike at full speed no matter what the situation is. And admittedly, it was something I never would have seen coming, because who in the world would name themselves the Bogbeast of Boggabah simply because they can do certain things like that? They just run into situations head first without even thinking. So they're the Bogbeast a frickin' Boggabah. Yeah, that's real great, Disney. That's a wow. Yeah. But I guess this trait pretty much describes Star perfectly. I mean, admittedly, she doesn't really plan out things. She just does things on her own without thinking. And at most times so far, it's really just been working out for her. I mean, think about it. She went and defeated Toffee with that logic. I mean, except for the part where she costumed herself to be a rat. That's completely different. But I mean, other than that, she didn't really plan anything else out. And perhaps this was River's way of letting her know this is just a part of her and she shouldn't be really ashamed of how she is. It seemed like Star's response was more of a concern about herself and how she never really realized that she doesn't really think before actually acting. And though she is maturing in certain aspects of herself, maybe this is another thing that she needs to work on and she will work on in the future. Also, within the background of this episode, you can clearly see the darkness overwhelming the moon, so don't know if that symbolizes for anything. Alright, and now, the second half of this episode. So the second half of the same exact episode, the 15th episode, is basically what happened to Moon after she threw Star out. And like I said just recently in this video at the very beginning, I had mentioned that the butterfly book of their family doesn't even mention Heinous as one of the family members. Or in this case, as we all know her now, Meteora. So after realizing that the butterfly family tree book is basically useless, she decides to visit Eclipsa and ask her who her daughter really is. But before that even happens, Moon catches Eclipsa doing some hardcore metal rocking, so yeah, that's a thing. And I guess that explains the whole reason why Meteora really loves metal, so yeah. But anyways, Moon was beginning to ask Eclipsa exactly who her daughter was and if Heinous could have possibly have been her daughter. But of course, sadly, she doesn't even directly ask that, so they just move on. Soon, instead of simply depending on the butterfly history book, they decide to go to the Royal Archive. Wow, Eclipsa sure knows quite a bit about this place, doesn't she? But anyways, the Royal Archive is one of the most important things of all of Muni, basically. It has records of everything that's going on live, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later after I'm done going through a little bit more of this analysis. So before they can step foot inside the entrance of the Royal Archive, they have to go through the Magic High Commission building. So just like Glossaric, in order for them to enter, they have to go through Sean. Oh god, this guy again. At first, Sean was a real pain in the neck, but eventually they go through and escape nice and quietly until, well, the very end when they make it up to the entrance. Sean is throwing out the cupcakes he just ate by himself because he's a very greedy guy. And so instantly he turns around and he catches them in the act before they actually get in through the entrance. And it truly is funny because he's actually willing to report Moon, the Queen of Muni, exactly what's going on to the Magic High Commission. I mean, same time, I guess I don't blame him, so I don't know how to think about that. And I just absolutely love how casual and just her smirk, the smirk on her face, Eclipsa the entire time while all this is going on. She simply says to Moon, why don't you just wipe his memory with your magic, because apparently she can't do magic without her wand. She never learned how to do that. Which is something that truly shocked me because, wow, Eclipsa of all people never even learned magic without her wand? And the only evidence that could contradict that saying is mainly, I guess, the part where she was giving Moon that dark spell. But then at the same time, when Eclipsa was giving out the advice, she did mention that she had to aim her wand directly at his heart in order to defeat him. But then again, I understand that I'm going back and forth with this. Glossaric did mention the fact that Eclipsa was his most attentive student, and she looks as if she's at least over her 30s by now. If Eclipsa was taught by Glossaric and abided by basically all of his rules, I'm pretty sure within the 20-year leap, she would have already known how to do magic without her wand by now. And one small teeny tiny detail is the fact that how in the world did Eclipsa get frozen and looks like she was about to go on the defense, but yet it looks as if she never was using her wand in the first place. And then there was a particular moment in Stranger Danger where she does this to Glossaric, so yeah. But hey, maybe that technically doesn't count as magic. I don't know, just just a little something I had to mention there. But also, Eclipsa could have also said that so she wouldn't be the one to erase his memory. I mean, she already is in enough trouble as it is. So they managed to get by Sean despite the fact that Eclipsa basically duped Moon into erasing Sean's poor memory. We still don't know exactly how much of his memory got wiped, so I'm bound to see what happens in future episodes. As they make their attempt to make it to the archive, they have to first go through all these halls, and Eclipsa sings a song that goes a little like this. Dark is the hall beyond the pitch, oh where could there be light? Not up nor down, but 3 steps round, 2 doors down. her torch shall steer you right. At first, I had believed that since Eclipsa made it up herself, it was gonna be this secret message that was actually a reference to how darkness is overcoming light. But to be honest, it clearly sounds like it really is directions on how to get to the Royal Archive, so I couldn't even analyze that into this video. I really believed that I was onto something, but no, it seems like Eclipsa really isn't evil. I don't know what to think. Maybe it's just the husband and Meteora, the half-breed, that we should be worrying about. Eclipsa and Moon finally make it up to the entrance of the Royal Archive, but unfortunately they can't go any further because the door is locked, so they have to make their way through a rat entrance instead. At least that's what Eclipsa calls it, and this is when things begin to get a little bit weird. The spider from the promo finally is revealed in this episode, and it's kind of strange because who else has 3 eyes? Because in general, throughout the show, we've already seen spiders that have had 2 eyes and 4 eyes. And never have we seen 3 eyes, so that's quite interesting. I mean, we've already seen realistic spiders, and like I just said, they have 4 eyes. And I can't necessarily count Spider with a top hat as one of the many prime examples, simply because he is technically just one of Star's magic spells. The things in this show that we've seen have 3 eyes are really demons, Tom himself alongside with his mother. I would say that this was conjured up by Eclipsa herself, or possibly it could be her husband that was transformed into a spider. But even I would have to say that that sounds a little bit off. I'm not really too sure about all that. But if Eclipsa really did make that spider to distract Moon, then maybe she did that in order to make sure that she wasn't caught messing with anything in the archives. It would kind of explain how all of a sudden the candles were just out and, you know, it seemed like hours had already passed. I mean, it did seem like even later on in the episode, the spider was really attracted to shiny items, so that could be just a coincidence. And we do see Eclipsa come around the back and go through the entrance to get Moon and save her. But once again, Eclipsa probably just did that to gain her trust. And why else did Eclipsa need that hairpin? And wait a minute! Wasn't it daytime when Eclipsa was looking through her reflection out the window? How was it 7:59 when the archives were writing stuff?
7:59. King River reveals Star to be the Bogbeast of Boggabah?
And yes, that's right. When they first enter the archives, it's revealed that at 7:59, Star was revealed to be the Bogbeast now. And the writers of this episode didn't tell you all that for no reason. If it was clearly daytime before they actually entered inside of that tunnel, how in the world did it take hours for them just to simply do that? This had to have been planned. Those candles were not just coincidentally blown out. It was hours later before she was finally saved by Eclipsa. And while in the archive, Moon says this.
You know, this stuff would have made it a lot easier to build a case against you. Sorry.
And it seems like Eclipsa just doesn't care. You don't think that she may have taken out something from out of the archive that would have made the trial more interesting, do you? Eclipsa already was straightforward on what to do and where to find her files, which is pretty strange because she doesn't remember what her daughter looks like, but yet she's able to know exactly what her song was to go through the halls and, you know, where to get through the entrance and how to get her files through the archive. It's almost like she studied everything while Moon was still trapped in that rat hole. But anyways, they finally make it up the ladder and get to Eclipsa's archive, and it's revealed in her scroll that not only Eclipsa's husband is named King Shastakan, but also that someone had actually tampered with her scroll and replaced her daughter's name with Festivia. It was obviously because she's a half-breed and so they didn't really treat her the same. So yeah, that would explain Meteora and most likely why she wants revenge on Muni. I mean, I wouldn't blame her, that's for sure. And what makes this extremely messed up is the fact that she doesn't even know who the crap Festivia even is. I mean, come on. And if that's the case, then how is she related? Was she just some random human that was chosen as one of the butterflies? Unless Festivia was probably adopted in the family, I really don't see how she was the one crowned as the new queen. So anyways, they make it back to the palace safely and without being caught by the Magic High Commission. And it seemed like Moon actually knew the culprit as to who would cover up all this information. Of course, I'm not really too sure or have any idea who it could possibly be, but give it some time and I think I'll make another video on who it could possibly be. But on the other hand, we do have Eclipsa, who seems to be generally concerned about her daughter, and she really doesn't know who she is. She doesn't even realize until Moon tells her that she could possibly be alive and could be under the name Heinous. Of course, Moon doesn't exactly tell her straight away that Heinous could have been her daughter, but we get interrupted by Star, and then there's a good old cliffhanger, so that's just freaking great, Disney. You stop with the cliff. So yes, of course, that's how they end the freaking episode, and so we have to wait for the very next one, hopefully the very next one, where they reveal all this mess. The next couple episodes that are on the list is The Butterfly Trap and Ludo, Where Art Thou? It sounds like the episodes could potentially be significant, so I just can't wait until next Saturday. But as usual, please subscribe to the channel if you still have not. Like this video, especially if you liked the video, and if you disliked it, let me know in the comment section why you disliked it, apparently. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Yeah, thank you all for your support, and I hope you all enjoyed this analysis. Peace!